Hey friends, happy Wednesday, the 25th of October. It's nice to be with you. I'm Father Bill Hill, priest at Holy Spirit Catholic Community in Rock Springs, Wyoming. I'll share with you a daily reflection. The daily readings are linked down below. Click the link, read the readings prayerfully, and then turn off the screen. Spend some time with God before you move on to other things. Wednesday, the 25th of October, everything works out. I should be leaving to go elk hunting today. So I will have videos, I think, for my entire time gone. God willing, I'll even have videos when I come back. It's why I've allowed the beard and such to get a little bit on the long side, right? Wild woolly man of the mountains. Know that I'll be praying for you. If you want to pray for me, I'd appreciate it. Hey, I know that Halloween's right around the corner. We've got all of our spooky decorations and our costume and our candy and all that stuff. Do you know Mass times? And are you planning on joining us for the commemoration of all the faithful departed, what we oftentimes call All Souls Day? Think about coming to Mass a couple times in the middle of next week. I tell you what, you'll notice a difference. It will help you in the midst of all the chaos and the craziness of life. Plan now to join us for Mass next week. Halloween, All Saints Day, All Souls Day. Okay, readings today. We are working on Paul's letter to the Romans and Luke's Gospel. Paul's letter to the Romans. Yesterday we have, the end of that part where Paul says, where sin increased, grace abounded all the more, overflowing. So now he kind of asks the rhetorical question, okay, we don't live under the law, we live under grace. Does that mean we do whatever we want to? Can we sin and do everything else? Of course not, right? We are dead to sin as it is dead in our own body. We do not allow sin to reign in ourselves, right? Paul says, you know that if you present yourself as obedient slaves, you are slaves of the one you obey. Do you want to be slaves of death, or do you want to be slaves of obedience, which leads to righteousness, right? Do you want to be servants of darkness and death? Do you want to be servants of love, obedience, right relationship, and ultimately the abundant life that comes in Jesus Christ through that? That's Paul's kind of rhetorical flourish, right? You can live under the law, or you can live the life of grace that leads to superabundance. Perhaps, you might think about choices over the course of the last week or a few months. Like, are the choices that we're making drawing us closer to God, or are they still calling us to service of the things of this world that are good, but they don't fundamentally satisfy the deep desires of the human heart, right? Perhaps we just sit a bit with our priorities and our calendar, and we allow the Lord to remind us of that which is most important. The psalm response, which I oftentimes forget, right? Our help is in the name of the Lord. It's not our own strength. It's not the things of this world. It is indeed God who is our help. Gospel of Luke, Jesus tells a parable about being ready. If the master of the house had known when the thief was coming, he would have been awake, he would have been attentive, he wouldn't have been caught sleeping. Likewise, we need to be prepared for Jesus to return, whether at the end of our own life or the end of this present age. This gospel, I just love it. I want you to pray with it. Jesus, the wisdom figure, right? Like St. Peter's like, all right, hey, Jesus, what do you want to order for dinner? And Jesus is like, let me spin you a few more parables and wisdom teachings. Peter's like, do you want us to share with this with the crowds, or is this just for us? And then Jesus launches into another teaching about the faithful steward, Peter, but also us, right? Stewards are people who have received but don't possess. They're not the owners of it, right? That's us. Everything about us, we have received. What do we do with it? Do we waste it? We know what the Father's will is for us, what the Master's will is for us. Maybe not in minute details, right? But the broad strokes, to share, to love, to care for our neighbor, to be people of deep faith and sacrificial love. Like, we know this stuff, right? And so if we go about and pretend like we don't know, beating the men servants and the maid servants and eating all the food stores and getting drunk and doing whatever we want to, there may be consequences. The Lord is calling us to be attentive. What is our duty? What is our calling? Who are we called to be? Having received absolutely everything about who we are, how do we now share that with the world? I hear Jesus, the wisdom figure, saying to Peter, right? And this is maybe the words behind the words. Peter's like, are we supposed to share this with the crowd or not? And Jesus invites him to reflect more deeply on who it is that he's called to be and serve, and how it is that he is to take care of all of the call that he has received. Peter, I'll be honest, seems like the straightforward type, sometimes maybe even a little dense. I'm not sure how that went over with Peter at the time, which is awesome. I love it. Like, that's the humanness of the scriptures. And that might just be a place to pray, especially if you're feeling frustrated or bewildered or uncertain about what the Lord is doing these days. I think that Peter might have felt the same way some of the time. All right, friends. Now you read those readings prayerfully. See what God's doing in the depths of your heart. Turn that screen off when you're done. Spend some time with God. It'll be a great gift for you. God bless y'all.